This is Dabu7. We have the issue here in America where the drones have come onto the scene more than ever before. Lots of people out there have them at this point. And the FAA has been stalling out for forever. So much so that they still have not produced guidelines for businesses or anyone else to use. People that are waiting to deliver with these things, all this other stuff. They haven't gotten the flight paths together. They're still working on all that. But what they did say is everyone had to register their drone by February 19th or you're going to get in trouble. So they made a push, and people wanted to counter this because they said 16-year-old kids are out here having to put their information online for other people to see, and they did not like that. Well, they didn't have an answer for that. Of course they didn't. And they didn't seem to care because they kept on pushing. And what they're doing now is in Connecticut in terms of drones, and this is going to come down to a state-by-state thing, guys. The FAA may be able to set, and what they're putting out is a template. They can basically give recommendations for what's to go down, okay, and then try to come and fine you if you don't do it and this and that. But they cannot write laws on this, okay? That has to be enforced through different branches. And when it comes to this government and it comes to the police forces and the alphabet gangs, you guys know all too well where we all heard about drones to begin with. The Predator drones, Reaper drones, these ones dropping bombs on people in other countries. Well, we've also seen here in this country the guy that threw a gun up on one, and as soon as he did it, they flipped out. Okay, well, somebody else just put a flamethrower on one and was cooking a barbecue or something, and they flipped out too. And, you know, these can be hard to control one of these things just to pull it off. If you watch the video, it's herky-jerky. It's, they did it. They pulled it off. But to really get up on someone that's not going to see or hear you coming with that thing, yeah, I guess somebody could just try to fly it in any. You could take a remote control airplane and kamikaze it into a building at any moment. I don't see them talking about that. You know, what I see them doing is they're trying to pull off a separation here right in front of your face. They're trying to say the people cannot have a right to arm these whatsoever in Connecticut, whatsoever. If you try to do so, you're going to get hit with a Class C felony. If you try to employ a drone to set off explosives, deadly weapons, tear gas, anything like that, it's punishable by 10 years in prison. And at the moment, that would include law enforcement. And they don't like that one bit. Now, as written, the bill would require law enforcement to procure a warrant prior to the use of any drone for any reason. For any reason. And that's kind of vague in itself. And they're arguing back and forth, obviously, here that they want the right to be able to use this. And so it begins. Where they're kicking down the door saying that we have the right to, as peace officers, to protect the people, to be able to deploy potentially tear gas, non-lethal munitions from the drone. But this is where it begins, you see. And then they want the rest of the people to not have that opportunity. Now, there's a lot of gray area here still. And it comes down to kind of common sense, respect, and things of that nature. I think if a helicopter goes flying over your property, it just flew over and went by and you don't see it again, not much you can say or do. Are you going to shoot it down? Same with the drone. If it goes flying by, I hate to say it, but it's not your airspace. And you're going to find this out the hard way. The airspace right above your home, they're going to tell you you do not own it. But this is where there needs to be a separation. There needs to be some clear understanding. If someone is just cruising past your property, or just cruising over the countryside, that's one thing. Okay? You catch them hovering over your property, stopped. So when you get out your camera, you start filming all this, because that's going to be the gold for you. For anything that happens from there, you're going to get your camera out and you're going to want to film this thing actually stopping over your property, hovering over your property, low, for whatever reason it may be. And then at that point, you still can't shoot it down. You can call law enforcement and everything else, but your best bet is to track it. Okay? And your best bet is to have a drone of your own. Now, this is a question I'm not sure there's an answer for yet, and I think the FAA needs to put it in stone along with everything else, is who has superior rights when it comes to airspace above your property. When it comes to another drone, an unknown drone, I'm not talking a helicopter or anything that has life aboard of it. I'm talking a UAV or a drone, and you have one as well, and they're both in the air. The other is an invader. Do you have a right to then take it down? And I don't mean by shooting it down. I mean by netting it, because the police are out there doing it in other countries. We've already seen it. And I think even here in the United States, a Japanese company had made this netting that they deployed, and they used these bigger, badass drones to come flying in that are a lot quicker and try to take out and swoop up the drone out of the sky in the net. And they showed it. It worked perfect. That is a defensive mechanism that I believe should work for a person at their home. And why not? And how are they going to argue against that? You know, there's things there because people should have a right to protect when it comes to privacy. And I'm telling you, if they don't want to let you shoot it down whatsoever, then you should have the means to be able to deploy your own drone and defend your own airspace above your home. Because who's to say if there wasn't 50 of them hovering in your backyard and you wake up one day? What are you going to do? Just let them sit there? Something has to be done. And, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, it looks like they definitely want to take away everything from the people, and the police are going to keep pushing to weaponize, and that's exactly where it's heading. It has begun. We'll see where it goes from here. I'll leave a link. Keep you guys posted with more as I come across it. It's been Dabu7. Eyes to the sky.